Welcome back to the Headbangers podcast. I'm your host, Brad. Unfortunately, never got be in this one due to personal reasons. But yeah, we've got Luana. She's a legend. She's from Crypta, Nervosa, obviously two monumental thrash and death metal bands. We cover a lot about her drumming. You know, she's been drumming since she was in her teens, which is insane. We talk about the new album from Crypta, which is absolutely phenomenal. We get to talk about some of her personal hobbies, how she's a big fan of antiques, also woodworking. So yeah, we just have a really nice chat. Again, if you like the podcast, don't forget to give us a like and subscribe on the video version. If you're listening on audio services, give us a rating. This helps out in the algorithm. And we are available on all social media. It's Headbangers Podcast, except for Twitter, which is Headbangers Pod 1. So yeah, without further ado, let's get into it. Headbangers. Welcome back to the Headbangers Podcast. I'm your host, Brad. Today we've got Luana from Nervosa and Crypta. How are you doing today to start off with?
I'm doing well. I'm just resting at home after a couple of gigs. And tomorrow going to a gig as well.
Oh, nice. Okay. So we like to start off with like a little icebreaker on the show. What's your funniest gig or tour story that you can recall?
My funniest gig or tour story. Damn, there are so many, but I don't think I recall very much. Well, I do remember right now I got there is this guy that always gives us some gifts at shows, and I once got like a pack of bread, just regular pack of bread, which was interesting.
I remember
once. Yeah, it was interesting. I mean, I did eat it all, but yeah, weird. I also got a request from a fan after the show to buy my sweaty socks, which is just nasty, but that was something that happened. And I don't know, there's so many things I just don't recall right now. That's terrible. I'm sorry. I think those are the ones I remember immediately.
I gotta say, we haven't had buying sweaty socks and someone giving you a loaf of bread. We haven't had that on the show before, so props to originality.
Okay.
So obviously I need to talk about the album. It's fucking amazing. I've had it on repeat like since it came out. There's like a sense of like melody but also brutality. Like you've definitely got the mix just right in there. And I remember reading that, you know, you guys are all into like different types of death metal. So some of you into like melodic, some of you more brutal death metal. How was it bringing all those influences together? Like, did you initially agree like this is our sound, or did you have a bit of like, okay, I think we should sound like this, you know?
When we started writing the songs, we thought that we would like to go to a more of a old school death metal approach, and very quickly we realized that we cannot do that properly because we have all so many different influences within death metal, as you said. Like Dana is more and Jessica, I think that they are more into some modern stuff, some modern death metal, modern sounding death metal even. And Fernanda's more into like American death metal, like Florida and stuff. And I'm very much into Swedish death metal and just that rotten sound from the HM2. And so we always try to split a little bit so everyone is happy. Like one song will sound more melodic and this and that, and the other song will be just more aggressive and full of blast beats and fast stuff and no time for melody. Some even sound more modern. So, you know, like we try to make everyone happy. And I think that at the end of the day makes Crypta sound like Crypta, that it's just there's so many different influences.
Definitely, like it's probably one of the most unique albums I've heard all year. Because I mean, I know you probably know, just like listening to like death metal for a long time, like you do end up like finding that it's hard to find something that really grabs your attention because there is a lot of copycat bands out there, and there's a lot of bands that like to stick to what they know. But with Crypta, like you said, with this album, like there's so much going on. Like, and there is like moments when it's just pure brutal, and then there's moments when it's melodic. Even like there's a section that sounded like a beatdown. I was like, this is a nice addition. I wasn't expecting this, but it's a nice addition. So yeah, I think it's good to like definitely mix it up.
Yeah, I agree.
So obviously you guys went on like tour with like Morbid Angel, you've toured with Deicide, like some pretty like heavy hitters. Like what's that like for the band? Like is it exciting? Have you got to like meet loads of your heroes and things like that?
It's very cool. And in Morbid's case, it was Morbid Angel that wanted to introduce us in the tour. Like we didn't randomly get there as well. Like Trey told us that we got in the tour because he put us in the tour. he was very much supportive of the band. Like he played live with our t-shirt in some shows here and there. It was just, it was so awesome. Like to seeing like one of your like idols, and like everyone's idol really, like a guy that, you know, helped form death metal back in the days, just wearing your band t-shirt and just being there and very supportive of you being on tour is really awesome. Gladly we're a new band, but we had the chance of touring with these cool bands from back in the days before, with Nervosa as well. I don't know. I don't know what to say more than we're just really glad we have the opportunity.
Yeah, definitely. I know, but that's definitely insane for sure, especially with him wearing your t-shirt as well. Like, I think that's where every band wants to be at some point, you know, seeing your idols wear your t-shirts and stuff.
Yeah.
That is awesome. So obviously, I love the artwork for the album. Like, it's got like almost like a cult feel to it. How did that come about, that process for the artwork? Was it something that you guys had planned from the start, or you just found like someone that you liked their art and you're like, yeah, this is the guy, or this is the girl, you know?
The guy that made it is called Raul Campos. It's a guy from Mexico, and we found him very randomly on Instagram. Like we knew that we wanted a painting. We just didn't know who to go for, and we also wanted to try someone that like is not doing for all the bands, and so we just started searching on Instagram randomly, really. And I found this profile of this painter from a page with like modern painters. Visited, thought it was cool, talked to him, and he was up for a commission. So we definitely did with him. And he's a guy that never worked with metal bands before, or with bands in general. Wow. So he didn't know how exactly we were gonna use that. And I was just like, we need it in a square, and I needed to send like, I don't need the real art at the end, because he wanted to send like the real art, and we're like, no, we don't need it. Like, we just need like the file with like a big scan of the art in a square and this and that. So it was his first time like working with a band and making a cover art. Except for that, he has done just like commissions of huge paintings for places and people, like very, very different. And the art is just a gather of ideas that we all had. We knew about the concept of the album because Fernando wrote about it and kind of explained everything for us, how it would be and how it would go through this thing. And it's just about the process of pain that someone has to go through in life. And we all had different ideas of how to represent the process of pain that someone goes through. But at the end of the day, we decided to put them all together and try to mishmash into just one image. So again, everyone would be happy with the outcome, or at least have their idea somewhere in the cover art.
That's interesting what you said as well about, like, you know, it's hard to represent pain and stuff like that because, again, it's so subjective, isn't it, to the person. So yeah, I'm glad that you guys decided on something. I think it's cool as well that you worked with someone that doesn't do metal artwork. Like, I'm sure it was like an interesting process for you, as it was for him as well. Like, I wonder if he's going to do more metal album covers now that you guys have started the trend of him.
Yeah, I hope so. I hope more metal bands are like sending messages and just poking him online for him to do metal art. I think it would be super funny because he doesn't look like a metal guy at all. So
no, I bet. No, well, like it's just an interesting artwork there for sure. Like, it stands out across, like, you know, all the other types that you get. And I've seen like a few other bands that are like trying to, you know, branch out of like what you'd class as, you know, stereotypical metal artwork. But I think it makes it more interesting that way because you want it to catch your eye. Because I mean, even like back in the day, maybe not as much anymore, but I feel like back in the day when you used to walk into a shop and get like a CD or a vinyl, sometimes you just buy it just based on how cool the artwork was. So yeah. I think it definitely counts for something, right?
Yeah, thank you. I've been there definitely buying stuff for the artwork as well. So it's cool. It's cool that you picked that.
Hell yeah. So obviously talking about artwork, I think I read that you actually do some graphic design yourself for the bands, don't you? At least even Nervosa or Crypta.
Yeah, I worked as a graphic designer before. I started to work properly with drums. I played and did graphic designer at the same time, but I was studying to like work with that for real instead of being a drummer full time before. And so with the band, everything that I can do for the band, and we don't have to pay or send to anyone. I do like layouts for t-shirts. Like, I don't draw. I'm not an artist at all. in that sense, but I'm putting stuff together, like mishmashing with the artwork, so we can have as many different arts and layouts with that as we possibly can, trying to help with the booklets and to even like put in place logos, make the new logos, and everything that I can do, I do for the band in that sense.
That definitely like saves cost in it, so you don't have to, like I said, you don't have to get anybody else to do it. So like you said you did graphic design then on commission. Did you was that like an interest even before you started drumming? Because I know you started drumming around 12, right? Did you do the graphic design before that, like kind of getting into it, or is it something like, you know, when you got involved in being in bands, you were like, oh, this might be a cool thing to do on the side as well?
I remember having interest in graphic design even before drums, because me and my cousin, that was like my basically my only friend at the time, we were like kids and we used to hang out together. We participated on these groups online from social media, like a Brazilian social media we had, that the best cover art for the group would get to be the cover for the month. So we were always like working very hard on making cooler cover arts for the groups that we were in, so we could win the competitions amongst the other kids. So it all started there. And then I started with drumming, but then I was also like, when I started with drumming, I was also like starting to do some work for bands in my area. Nothing cool or anything, but like I was helping them with booklets and even some cover arts if I could, like terrible ones, but at the time, like I was, 12 to 14.
Yeah, I
And
imagine you're a tiny bit better now, right?
yeah, definitely. And then I ended up studying for real graphic design because I thought that I couldn't do a living with drumming, which I was wrong heavily.
Yeah, you know, I give lots of credit to people that do graphic design because it's always been something that's been a part of my life. Like I studied at uni doing like a mixture of photography, video, and then graphic design as well. And then I did marketing after that. So like, you know, obviously that's a big part. But I always used to get like a massive telling off from my boss because I could never align things properly. It's like something to do with how I visualize things. I'm just terrible at seeing when something looks aligned. But yeah, that's still something that I need to master. So props to you.
Yeah, thank you.
Um, so obviously, like I said, you started drumming at 12, which is absolutely insane. Like, you know, when I think about me when I was 12, I was just like doing fuck all, to be honest. So how did you get into like death metal? When did you decide, oh, I want to be a death metal drummer? Because your first band was a death metal band, right? So like, how did that come about and who inspired you, you know, to do that?
When I started, I was just inspired by Joey Jordison. It was a
Oh
drummer
yeah.
that I knew at the time. It was the guy that was on TV. And since I was a kid, like I found the mainstream bands. I didn't know how to dig for the underground shit still. So it was the first guy that I found out about. And it's a cool one to find out first, because even though he's playing new metal, he's very extreme in his drumming. Like he's playing
Oh yeah.
blast beats and super fast kicks and super fast fills. So that already put me in the way to that, in the path. But then later on, I found, just searching for drummers, I found Derek Roddy, which is, biggest blast beater that there is out there.
Very true.
And yeah, that influenced me to like go and dig for other bands, go to more underground bands, started to find about death metal. By the age of 16, I was already in a death metal band and pretty much into the underground death metal bands and black metal and stuff. So yeah, I searched online basically by myself. That's how I got into it.
Yeah, that's interesting. I think like I like what you said about Joey Jordison as well. Like, because you know, people just automatically just like, you know, put a Slipknot to the side. So, oh, they're just a new metal band. But like in a way, they're sort of like the most mainstream extreme metal band in a way. Like, you know, they were always
Yeah.
like super technical, and yet they still managed to be on like BBC or like, you know, playing these stadium arenas, which is just insane to be honest. So they're definitely more than just like a new metal band for sure.
Yeah.
So obviously you're in like Nervosa, which is a, you know, more predominantly a thrash metal band, and then you're in Crypta, a more predominantly death metal band. Like, is it weird like transitioning as a drummer between both bands? Like, or is it just something that's seamless to you now?
Um, to me, what was weird at the time was to start playing with Nervosa, because even though it was a cool band and it was the band that I learned I got better playing with Nervosa because I had to play songs from other drummers that came before me, and that taught me a lot because I didn't have that experience. I learned about touring. I learned so much of the bass that I am nowadays, and everything that I know came from Nervosa. But I was always very into death metal. Like it is my main and favorite music genre. So when I got into a thrash metal band, I really didn't have much background to be playing thrash metal. I was putting lots of just straight blast beats and stuff, and I mean, I did what I could, and I did the best as I could at the time with what I could play, because I was like definitely a way more of a simple drummer at the time. It was many years ago. I couldn't play many of the songs that I play now, you know. But to me, it was tricky to write thrash metal because I don't listen to thrash metal really, like, at all, ever. So interesting.
I was gonna say, yeah, I never really thought about it that way, you know. But I guess it kind of gives Nervosa a, you know, a different sort of spice as well, because you've got the death metal influence with the drumming and that. Because it's interesting to say that, because I was listening to Nervosa today as well. Because I've listened to Nervosa for years actually. Like even like back in the day when I first got into metal, they were one of the bands I used to love. Um, so, but then when you listen to like Nervosa, like the drumming is like very death metal. And I noticed that today, like it doesn't sound like your typical thrash. Like you're putting definitely more power into it than like I'd say most thrash bands would in the drum set, for sure.
Um, how can I describe this? I think thrash metal drummer is like faster and like aggressive overall, and I was just putting lots of regular blast beats and doing some groovy stuff. Yeah, I mean, I did what I could, but I guess not very traditional thrash metal.
No, for sure. I want to ask about like, so what was like the local scene in Brazil growing up, like, you know, as a metal fan? Was it something that was like quite big at the time, or is it something like you noticed has got like either bigger or smaller over the years? Like, what's that scene like?
I know that the scene in Brazil is very big. We have all kinds of bands everywhere. But Brazil is very big as well. And I live in a very small city in the south that is far from any big city at all. And then for me, when I was younger, I think I didn't have a sense of how the Brazilian scene was. I just experienced my own scene, that is the one that I have in my area, which is very small. It's just like 2 or 3 bands, and that we play around always, and that's about it. And also the old bands from my state of Brazil. But yeah, I just got to understand the Brazilian scene after I grew up and started to play with Nervosa around. But at the time, I just knew the bands from my area.
Nice, nice. So I want to go back to Shades of Sorrow for a second. You mentioned about like, you know, the writing of the concepts. Could you like elaborate more on like the concepts of the album? Is it like revolves around pain? Is there anything like, how did you get the influence to write it and things like that?
The one that wrote the lyrics, it was Fernanda. But I guess we all in life been through this different process of pain that she wants to talk about and talked about, like depression or anxiety or stuff like that, you know. And she just decided to write an album about all these pain and how it feels like how everything feels like, and how everything is different. And you know, it's just an album about sadness and anger and depression and anxiety. I think Fernando knows how to elaborate way better than me about lyrics, but what I can say about it is that definitely something that, of course, she's been through, but we all been through, and I think it's nice that fans that go through this can like read the lyrics and relate to what they are going through as well, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. I wanted to ask as well, like at the top of that, because we've asked a few bands this as well. Is you think when you write it's like something that involves like deep emotions, like do you think it's something that's like it's better to just get it on the canvas and it feels good, or is it something that's quite hard to write or like, you know, go through while you're writing it, like, you know, quite taxing for yourselves?
Damn, I think I didn't understand the question. Sorry.
Oh, sorry. Is it like, when you write about like pain and emotions and things like that, is it something that's like it feels good to like express yourself, get it on the canvas, or is it something that's quite difficult and quite taxing when you write it about that kind of topic?
I didn't write anything myself for this album. Just Fernanda did. But I know that for her, it's very helpful to write about it. I think it's not. I mean, it was probably difficult to find the words and to put them all in a lyrical aspect. Not just tell what you're feeling, but put it in a lyric in a way that it fits the song. But I think she has an ease to write how she feels and what she thinks. Yeah, it's a very good thing for us because we're not very good with lyrics, so it's good that she has the ease to write it.
Oh yeah. So obviously like you're in like, a few bands, you do graphic design, like you do a lot for like the bands as well. Like how do you manage it all? Like, because you seem to just do so much. Like, do you like to just keep yourself busy? Is that what it is? Or is it just something like it all kind of topples up?
It just happens, I guess. I would like to have more free time to do other things that I feel like I would be passionate about, like woodwork. I would love to work with woodwork or leather work. It's super cool, learn how to put wallets together or make cases and stuff. But I really don't have the time. And I also do music for fun, not just for as a professional, like playing with friends or just having projects and doing things here and there. So I guess at the end of the day, since I'm already doing music professionally, I always end up just finding more musical stuff to do for fun as well.
Yeah, because you do like drum playthroughs as well, don't you, of your songs?
Yeah, I don't know how I manage. I just it happens.
Props to you. I gotta say, props to you.
Thanks.
So I've seen from your Insta anyway, like you like to collect, even from just looking at your backdrop now, you like to collect a lot of like gothic ornaments and things like that. Like, what's your most prized possession that you've got? Like, you've like, this is the number one thing.
Oh, well, that's a difficult question. Oh, my most prized possession. I have so many things that I gather over time that I absolutely love. Um, I would say my most prized possession is a mirror that I have here at the living room. That is just like a fucking 2 meter tall mirror, old school, like 100 years old. And I got online from a guy that didn't want it anymore. It was terrible to bring it here because I live in the countryside, and it was very expensive to bring it as well. So I put lots of effort into having that mirror.
I was
and
gonna say
and a clock.
on the
Yeah,
clock. Yeah,
and a
because I
clock.
imagine like a mirror is like something that'd be quite nerve-wracking to bring because it's so easily breakable as well.
It was nerve-wracking. I almost died from a heart attack when the guys were like bringing this up the apartment
Like,
building.
please be
But now it's
careful.
just, yeah, but now I'm just like every day I wake up, I look at it, and I'm like, yes, fuck yeah.
It
I
is
got the
worth
mirror.
it.
Yeah.
Nice. What other hobbies interested are you into then? So when you put like the drum kit down, what are you doing?
I'm doing antiques, as you said. I'm always constantly searching for antique stuff and trying to repair the ones that I have at home as well. I have lots of things just gathered that I have to like polish or repair really to be able to put up here. And I would like to have more hobbies, like I said, like woodwork and leatherwork. I think I love it. I have all the tools and stuff, but I feel like I don't have much time for other hobbies. I try to watch some TV when I have time to just like turn my mind off, because when you work so much or constantly with touring, for example, I feel like even doing other hobbies is like it's work still. Like you're learning something, you're working your mind. So I try to just shut down sometimes and watch something, watch Netflix. So yeah, my hobbies are antiques and watching Netflix nowadays because I don't have time for others.
Yeah, I mean, like it's good to unwind there for sure, especially when you do as much as you do. Like you want to kind of just like shut your brain off for a bit for sure.
Yeah.
So I've got an interesting question, something that we ask on the podcast sometimes. If you were to describe Crypta as a cocktail, what cocktail would it be?
Oh, a cocktail.
Yeah.
That's difficult because me and Fernanda don't drink. Taina barely does, and Jessica is kind of allergic to alcohol. She gets like all red if she sips alcohol.
Whoa.
So yeah. So in a cocktail, I would say it would be an alcohol-free cocktail to start
A
with.
mocktail. Oh yeah.
Yeah. And no tomato, no salt, no salty stuff. I think it would be something like no alcoholic and like red berries, because everyone likes red berries, and that's about it.
Can attest. Yeah. Allergic to alcohol. That's really interesting. Is that just like all alcohol, or is it just something in it like that's in all of them that just creates a reaction, or is it just like certain types, like beer or anything like that?
It's all alcohol because Jessica is like half Japanese, and
Oh,
so I heard that some Asian people have some reactions to alcohol, which is her case. She gets very red. Like nothing really happens, but you know that she drank alcohol because she will get so red from it. It's funny.
What's like a guilty pleasure for you? So, you know, when nobody's looking, what you're listening to?
Guilty pleasure in terms of music.
Hmm.
Um, I don't know the name for it in English properly, but I think it's funny that from all this satanic death and black metal that I hear, I also listen to a lot of like sacred church music.
Oh wow,
Not
okay.
not like pop music or anything like please, but like Gregorian. I think it's Gregorian in English. Like people singing all together, like choirs. Is it choir in English? My English is failing me
Yeah,
right
yeah,
now.
yeah.
But like church choirs and stuff like that. I think it's really beautiful to listen to those. So yeah, I listen to that a lot when I'm by myself.
I think that's like a balanced diet, isn't it? Got to balance
It's
out the satanic stuff with the Christian stuff.
Yeah, unfortunately, it's Christian. I mean, I would love if there was like some satanic choirs. I would definitely go for that, but people didn't do it yet.
I think the closest you're probably going to get is like Zeonada, because they're like a bit like an experimental black metal with like some choir stuff, right?
Okay, I don't know that one.
Oh, you just check them out. I think they'll be definitely right up your alley if you like that stuff, like the
Okay, I
mixture
might
of two.
like it.
Yeah. Do you remember the first CD that you ever bought?
Yeah, it was the best of for Marilyn Manson and Slipknot, Iowa. I bought them together.
Do you remember like your first like kind of reaction when you first put them on?
I already liked Marilyn Manson and Slipknot a lot by the time I bought like my first CDs, because I listened to them on MTV at the time and also on YouTube. So I just remember being really, really happy that I got the physical copies of it, and I could listen to it even like louder because I could listen to them on like proper speakers.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. So I've got one more question for you. If it was a zombie apocalypse and you were trapped with all your bandmates, who would you be least reliant on, and who would you be most reliant on, and why?
Oh, I think the least reliable. I have to excuse her for this, but it's Taina. She how can I explain? She's just a very calm person. I think in a zombie apocalypse where you would need to just run and be desperate about it, she would be too calm and too friendly. Maybe not very reliable in a zombie apocalypse. And I think the one I would rely the most is Jessica, because she's very similar to me in personality. Just quite I wouldn't say stressed, but we are very always like paying attention to everything at all times. So I
Yeah.
think she would think like me in the zombie apocalypse, while Tina would be making friends with the zombies.
I'm gonna say like yeah, being aware is definitely important, and I guess being too relaxed, you might be a bit too trusting of people, and then it all kind of come to bite you in the ass, right?
Yeah, it's a good personality trait. It's just maybe it wouldn't work so well during a zombie apocalypse.
I agree. I agree. Yeah, thank you so much for coming on to this. It's been amazing talking to you. Like I said, I'm really respect how much you do, and you've got two awesome bands, Nervosa, Crypta, and yeah, I'll be still spinning the new album because it's so good.
Thank you, man.
And I hope that you guys will come on, Bloodstock 2024 maybe. Got some open slots, so I hope to see you guys there maybe.
Cool. I hope so too.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you very much for your time, and have a good night.
Right. Thank you. Good night. Bye.